What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Carolina Hurricane Stanley. I'm sorry, wrong show, Pipe, wrong show. Cream City Curveball. I'm your man, Justin from North Carolina.
And Pipe Bomb from the good land. Got an extra special guest with us tonight. The voice of the Milwaukee Admirals, the living legend, Aaron SIMS. Welcome to the show, Aaron. How you doing?
This is really cool. Thanks for having me, guys. I'm doing great. This is fun.
Well, if he works for the Admirals, I think it's only right. We got to put our Carolina Hurricane stuff. Oh, you can still see the bussy, but if we're going to do this, Aaron, we got to do it the right way.
Right on.
We can't play around with these people today.
There you go.
Now we welcome Aaron, right?
You got the old time hockey, Kyle Schultz on the left breast there. Yeah, that's fantastic, man. That's good stuff. Hall of Famer Shea Weber said it was his favorite jersey, favorite sweater.
No, absolutely. And for those of you who are watching, who are wondering what the hell do we have Aaron on for? What the hell are these crazy guys doing today? The Milwaukee Admirals. Can you talk about the partnership that the Milwaukee Admirals and the Milwaukee Brewers have, Aaron? And that'll shed some light while you're here, right?
Back in 2005, April of 2005, the Admirals had been in a trust for quite some time after Jane Pettit had passed away, and Jane Bradley Pettit had passed away. And eventually in April of 2005, Harris Turr stepped up and purchased the team, along with many other people in a minority. But Harris was the primary buyer of the team. But the group included Ben Sheets, it included Gord Ash and his wife, it included Mark Atanasio, and several other people. Harris already had a piece of the Brewers as a minority owner under the Seeligs, and then also that carried over under Mr. Atanasio. So that when Harris bought the team, he brought John Greenberg, who was the PR director for the Brewers at the time. He came over to be our team president. Tim Van Wagener, who has since retired and has moved to Scotland. Ireland, pardon me. He's going to be mad if I screwed that up. And a lot of people will be mad if I screwed that up, right? Tim came over. Tim was the one responsible, the last day at County Stadium, Tim was the one responsible for that whole program, where all the guys came out from left field, Henry Aaron and Willie Dave, the Packers, everybody who came out, right? Robin eventually on the Harley at the end. Tim was in charge of that, so Tim came over, and there was a lot of Brewers flavor early on, and there still is to a degree, but that's kind of where it started. Harris being an owner of both organizations, Mark Atanasio being an owner of both organizations, that's where it is. So we've had a great relationship with the Brewers over the years, not necessarily co-owned. They are two separate entities. It's not like it's not like Jimmy Haslam owns the Browns and the Bucks, and the Browns and the Bucks, I guess, would never be confused as being the same franchise or same group, but something like that, right? Like they are two separate entities. There's a majority owner and a minority owner, and that's the big tie-in. But throughout the years, I mean, you go back now to the '90s, one of the most widely enjoyed, widely loved commercial undertaking was with Bob Uecker with the Admirals. Jane and Lloyd Pettit. Lloyd Pettit is a Hall of Fame. He's passed too, but Hall of Fame broadcaster for the Chicago Blackhawks, and obviously Mrs. Pettit's husband at the time. And they asked Mr. Uecker to be a part of these very, very funny commercials. And I don't remember. Forgive me. I don't remember the ad agency that put them together, but it put Bob Uecker in his classic Bob Uecker spot, right? Like he was the guy who overestimated how good he was, and then he found out he was he's not in the front row, right? He's way up in the Uecker seats, so to speak. He's not, he's not coaching the team. He's sharpening the skates, or he's going to help the equipment, but that means he's just staying in the bags underneath. All of these things, right? All of these, the joke is on Uecker, but Bob, I mean, who played it better than Bob Uecker? So, the relationship between the Admirals and the Brewers goes back, I could even go back further. I've heard guys, and I apologize for monopolizing the time so much, but I know guys like when Charlie Moore got traded or left Milwaukee to go to Toronto. I know guys who were at his going away party that played for the Admirals, right? Like those guys used to live here in the 80s, 70s and 80s. They lived here year round. Before they became an affiliated team and it got younger. Like these guys built families and many of them stayed around, like the Danny LaCours and the E. Prestons and Fred Berries and Cal Roadhouse, and I could go on and on. So they knew Pete Vukovich. They partied with John Matuszek. Like there are so many great stories from those guys back in the 80s and 90s and et cetera. So the relationship with the athletes and the relationship with the teams has been around for and you also consider that both teams got here in 1970 as franchises. So it is a long parallel undertaking between the two teams.
Yeah, and as tough as a moment it was when Bob Uecker did pass away, it was really cool the fact that they, it brought back all the old Admiral commercials that he did that you were talking about and everything like that for, I wasn't living up here at the time, so it was nice for me to be able to see those and just, relive it and everything. That was really special. And I thought that was a really cool moment, and then obviously the Admirals, honored Uke and stuff like that after he passed. Really, really cool stuff.
Well, and we wanted to be really respectful of Mr. Uecker and his family, because he obviously you want to, like, everybody wants a piece, right? Everybody wants a memory of Bob Uecker that they can have. So we probably could have sold thousands and thousands of jerseys, and we could have sold thousands and thousands of T-shirts, but we wanted to be respectful, and they limited. And when I say we, I'm speaking on behalf of the team, of the Admirals. They wanted to be respectful of that and respectful of his family, and not, forgive the term, and I hope I could say it, not hoard the whole thing out, right? Like, not just sell to make money. They were sold, and the money raised went to Bob Uecker's favorite charities, so including the Mac Fund and whatever else he was a part of. There was 2 or 3 of them that the money went to, that Bob was passionate about, and his family are passionate about. So we didn't want it to turn into this free for all money grab type of thing. We wanted to do it as respectfully as possible, and of course John Greenberg, our team president, worked so closely with Bob for many, many years, being the PR director for the baseball team. So it was it meant a lot to John. John, of course, was there when Bob was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame as a broadcaster, and was mentioned in Bob Uecker's speech. John was. So they had a special relationship, as others have too. So when he passed, what was it, January? We were, I remember we landed in Austin, Texas, and we were coming from Carolina to Austin, Texas, and I think it was January, if I'm not mistaken, right? And we heard the news kind of on the plane that this had happened, and it just stunned, couldn't believe it. But that's a guy who, he's going to live forever. He's going to, and you don't need a hologram. He's going to live forever. We're going to, and rightly so. Like, the guy meant so much. He was the baseball team when the baseball team was awful. I'll never forget. The baseball team was so bad. I was working in Madison, and the station I was working at carried the Brewers, and did so for many years. And I was at a remote on the east side of Madison. It was like prom season, and they were renting tuxes. And I get in the car, and Bob Uecker, and Jim Powell was his partner at the time. And it was, the Brewers it was awful, right? Like, it was the late 90s, early 2000s. I think right before the ballpark was built, right before it opened, I should say. So I don't know that Davey Lopes was quite the manager, but it was in that area. And by the way, I love Davey Lopes. Jerry Royster, yeah, but Davey was, God rest his soul too. But anyway, I get in the car, and things are not going well for the Brewers, and it's an East Coast game, so they're already an hour in or whatever. And I think they're playing Cincinnati. And Uecker is, hey Jim, what'd you do last night? And Powell's like, well, I just kind of did some work and watched TV. And Uecker says, I turned on this channel. It was called the Spice Network, and I thought I'd get some tips. For cooking and seasoning and all of this stuff. He says, boy, oh boy, did I get my money's worth. I'm just dying. And Powell, Jim Powell, I don't know that if he got paid per laugh, Jim Powell was probably the richest man in the world. But I mean, it was just great. That's one of those things. 20, 25, 30, almost 30 years ago, and I'll never forget that exchange on the radio. And obviously, there are many. I introduced. 3,000 hit for Robin Yount. I was at an event in Madison. I was the public address announcer for a baseball team there, the Madison Mallards, in the Northwoods League. And we used to have alumni games, and we'd bring in former players for the Mallards and former big leaguers. Our owner, Steve Schmidt, got tight with Jay Johnstone and some other people, and they would bring in these former big leaguers to play. And this one game, this one year, Robin Yount came in to sign autographs, and Robin, cut me off if I'm going too much here, but
You're fine.
This is fun to me. Robin came in to sign autographs. He was only going to be there from like 6 to 7:30, and Robin stayed till way past dark. It was like 11:30 by the time everybody got something from Robin Yount. But at the end, one of the guys there was hard-hitting Mark Whitten, who was playing in this game. And Mark Whitten was the one who fielded the ball, the 3,000th hit off Jose Mesa. Mark Whitten was the right fielder for the Cleveland, at the time, the Cleveland Indians. And Mark Whitten, of all people in the place, came up to me and said, "Hey, can you introduce me to Robin?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "You guys don't know each other?" And he's like, "No, I never met him." He goes, "I should have kept the ball, but I never met him." I said, "Well, okay, and I don't know Robin Yount, right? But I just, hey, Mr. Yount, this is Mark Whitten," and they shook hands and talked, and they had a nice time for 10 minutes. So it was pretty cool. So I mean, that just gets into like, I know, Justin, you were talking about me being from Minnesota, being a Twins fan, but
Yeah.
there's, I've been around a lot. Like the first World Series, the second World Series I remember, but the first one I really remember being invested in was the Brewers in '82. And that, Molitor having 5 hits, and like I can do that lineup. I mean, Mark Brohard stepping in and all of this stuff, right? And Fingers going down and Pete Ladd coming in, and you know what? I'm 53. I'm really good at the '80s stuff. Really good at that. The stuff that happened last night or a week ago, or it's not my wheelhouse anymore.
No, but the '80s were great, man. And it's just funny you mentioned that story. And this is kind of, well, you're tuning in the Cream City Curveball with the legend himself. Talk about other legends, but Aaron Sims is a legend in his own right.
Oh gosh,
Best voice
sir.
in AHL hockey. Should be in the NHL somewhere, but we don't want him to go to the NHL because then we lose him from our great listening ears in Milwaukee, right? But Robin he's just that type of selfless person. I remember he came out here to the Carolina Mudcats, low A team at the time, owned by the Milwaukee Brewers, now the Wilson Warbirds. You would have thought I was a Hall of Famer from the way Robin Yount was talking to me.
Right.
Telling me about his wife being pregnant during the World Series and him having a ambulance under the stadium for him. Well, ironic story to me, I went to the '82 World Series as well because I was in my mom's belly at the World Series too, Aaron. So great stuff, man. Absolutely legendary.
Yeah, that's funny. That is funny.
The last game at County Stadium, we got placed in the hitter's eye. There was so much press from around the area, so we got to sit in the batter's eye out in center field, right? Nobody sat there. It was just this black. So we're sitting out there, and then I had, just the little, at the time, like $40 Kodak camera. And nothing big, and it certainly didn't have the big lens and all of that stuff, right? So I'm sitting out there, and all these guys are coming out. Here's Henry Aaron, and here, it's just a who's who coming through, and Brewers and Packers, and it's just Braves, and it's just awesome. And Robin is the last one, right? And he does the lap on the Harley in County Stadium, and he stops in center field, and he tips his cap, and it's like the twilight thing, right? Like it's at twilight, and I have this picture, and it's on this bad camera, like this camera everybody had in the '90s, but it's Robin tipping his cap, and straddling the Harley, and the lights are shining, like it's the best picture I've ever taken. And it's on, it was on this awful camera, but like I was so proud of it, and I don't have it on display, and I need to carry it with me wherever I go because it's kind of weird. Like Robin, when Robin Yount comes to town, once in a while he stops in at the office to see John Greenberg. So like we were in there years ago. We were just sitting in there, and all of a sudden Robin Yount walks in. What the heck? Like how many places do you work where the biggest star that ever played for your team happens to walk through unannounced and unexpected and all of that? Like it was really cool.
That's awesome. So obviously Aaron SIMS, voice of the Admirals. So I know you're doing a lot of stuff with the Admirals down at Summerfest, like you guys do every year. I don't know if you want to promote some of that stuff, anything you got going on with the Admirals. But what's the feeling on Carl Taylor? Obviously Admirals fans know what a great coach he is and all that. Please say there's no chance that we're going to lose him for next season.
No, I mean, as far as I know, it's up to him if he wants to find another job. But he's under contract. The staff is under contract. This last year in the NHL, there were 50 former Admirals who played at least one game in the National Hockey League, and 43 of those 50 played at least one game for Carl Taylor as the head coach of the Milwaukee Admirals, and Greg Rollo as associate, and Scott Ford and Matt Donovan as assistants. So like there's a 43 out of, that would be 2 full teams that have played for the Admirals. And granted, it's at least one game. So those 50 players played roughly 2,500 games. It was about 700 points. Included in that are guys who just appeared in the Stanley Cup final, Colton Sissons and Cole Smith for the Vegas team, and Carolina had Mark Jankowski, who played a big role, had a huge goal in the series for Carolina in that crazy season. Well, it was a crazy series. Like it was. The last two, Carolina just thumped them. The Carolina just turned down the Rod Brindamore, Rod the Bod muscle. But the first 4 games were just wild. Like no lead was safe. It was. I think they said it was the most watched Stanley Cup final in year. I don't know. I can't remember what year, but it's been a long time.
But Aaron,
deservedly
we're
so. And we're talking 2 markets that it wasn't New York, it wasn't LA, right? It was pretty awesome. I'm sorry, Justin.
No, I was going to say, and we're a Southern team, and we don't know anything about hockey down here in the South.
Yeah,
and what do we know, right?
That's what they keep wanting to say, man. And this non-traditional market and all of this stuff. But like everything, I don't know. I remember years ago they used to say, you're talking about local stuff. Hey, if you're on the radio, talk about what's happening locally. So, and I remember I was working with a guy, and he said he was talking about the president, and somebody says, talk about local, don't talk about the president. He's like, whatever the president does, that's local. Like that's what people talk about. So it's kind of like the same thing here. Like we got a hockey team. Yeah, we're not yokels. We know what's up. Like and they've been here for 25 years. Like we know hockey now. And guess what? We've won 2 more championships than Canada has won in the last 20 years, last 23 years, right?
That's right.
Like it's been since '93 since a Canadian team has won. So there you go. The whole non-traditional. Like I'm eager to see. I honestly think Atlanta can work. I know they failed twice. But I think, like anything, it takes the right owners, it takes the right people, it takes the right development. I think Phoenix can work. Phoenix was in a bad situation, but those are 2 markets that I think anybody would want to be in. Top 10 markets, population, money. The Braves move to the north side of Atlanta to build. That's what everybody says you need to do. The Coyotes or the Phoenix situation, the Arizona situation, they said you need to be in Scottsdale. Well, they need to figure it out. That's where the people are. It's one thing to have the football stadium 8 games a season on the west side. You only got to go on a Sunday. You don't have to fill it on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, as much as the NFL wants us to play on a Tuesday and Wednesday now. You don't have to do that all the time. You're only doing it once a week. You're not trying to do it 3 times a week. So go where the people are, and there's people in Atlanta, and there's people in Phoenix, and so that the non-traditional thing, right? Like there hasn't, Vegas hopped in, right? Seattle, but like those other teams, they've all been around for 25 years or more. So that non-traditional stuff. There's a generation of people who have come up with hockey and have learned about hockey and dig hockey. So and Carolina was the best team, and Carolina has a system that's just, I don't know how anybody can beat it. Like they just dummy you until you have nothing left, and then they just dummy you more. It's a crazy good hockey team, relentless.
Yeah, as they say, in Rod we trust. And the funny thing about us not knowing about hockey down here in Raleigh, North Carolina, we not only do we sell out every single playoff game, Pipe, we sell out watch parties. And by the way, tomorrow, Saturday morning, I will be amongst 100,000 Caniacs watching our boys go through the middle of downtown Raleigh, North Carolina.
That's cool. Have you done anything like that before? Either of you? Have you ever been?
I did it for the Bucks in 21. I came back to Milwaukee for it. Absolutely epic. This is my first time with hockey. Being I was going to kind of get to this, but I grew up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, born and raised, and I grew up a Chicago Blackhawks fan, diehard Hawks fan. Still love the Hawks. It's let's go Hawks, let's go Canes. But I also remember, here's a funny story about the Admirals, man, and we'll talk about Brewers at some point. Don't worry, we'll get to it, guys. Just stay with us.
I apologize, yeah.
No, Aaron, you do not need to apologize. This is why you're here. We wanted to pick your brain about this. So I remember, may she rest in peace, my Oma. I was one of those little boys. The Pipe's really going to pick on me on the next show, Aaron. You're getting me in trouble. But I had to sleep when I was a toddler with my grandmother in the room, right?
Yeah.
So I'm listening to the Admirals game, and she's telling me, shut up and go to bed. They scored in overtime. I'm jumping around my twin-sized bed, just going absolutely bonkers, and I'm sure I was in all types of trouble, dude.
That's great.
Yeah, the only time I went to, any kind of parade or anything like that was the first Bulls championship. Went down to Grant Park, and, obviously living in Chicago, being a fib at the time, and all that. And, that was a one-time thing. I will never do it again. It was too many people, too far. You couldn't see anything. I was very unimpressed by the whole situation. So, one-time thing, and, I don't feel a need to go to another parade. Obviously, if the Brewers win, or the Admirals or something, I'll go to that. But, any of like the big city, watching yesterday, that stupid team from New York had their little thing going on. Yeah, that looked like zero fun to me.
Yeah, I saw the pictures of the subway, right? Like the people trying to get out of there, and it's you're claustrophobic, man. I don't know that you're getting in the tube anyway, right? But even, I mean, oh my goodness, if it took 45 minutes to get out of the place,
no thanks.
That ain't for me. No, I went in '87 and '91 for the Twins, but I was a young kid. I was 14 for the first one, and a freshman in college. I was 18 for the second one. So I don't need to. I hope we can get. I hope we can do more. I guess, right? Like it's like Justin, you're going tomorrow. Like it's great to say, you know what? I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But then when it touches you, like it's all you want to do, right? Like you want to be a part of that. And the sport is. And Jeff, you and I have talked about this. Like the sport, like there's nothing. You and I may have different political beliefs. You and I may come from different familial backgrounds, whatever it might be. But we can all root for this sports team, and we can all find something similar and something in common because of what sports brings and what the local team brings and all of that, right? And that feeling, that euphoria when our team wins. And in a lot of cases, it's even better when our team sucks, because misery loves company, and we all just love to complain about what's going on, and that's fun, and that's even more fun at times, right? But the hatred of losing and the joy of winning, because it doesn't happen all the time. So like those are the things. Like, yeah, it's our team, but you know what? Now I'm part of this community. I'm part of this group of people. Like we're all here for the same cause. Like there's something special to that there's very few things in this world. Like not everybody's going to be jazzed about Toy Story 5. But there's going to be people who are, but movies don't bring us together like that. Sports is about it. Sports is about it. Music, not even. Sports is about it.
Yeah, it really is now, and And like you said, people will ask me all the time, oh, what was your favorite like post game shows to do with Tim and stuff like that? Was it,
Right.
after you're in a long winning streak and all this kind of stuff? Hell no, the best ones is when you drop 4 in a row.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
drop 6 in a row. Something like that. You're down in the dumps, and then like that's when good things, tend to happen.
Getting back to the euchre thing, like think of Major League, right? Like the greatness of that movie is euchre in the middle going, all we got is one hit, and Christ, I can't find it. The hell with that kind of stuff, right? And then to
Yep.
the end of him pumping his fists and getting excited because like that arc, and that's what we're all looking for, is that arc. Like, yeah, this is miserable, but you know what? We can get some fun out of this. We can grind every gear, and it's entertaining, and the anger and whatever. But at the end, if you get a happy ending, man, it just makes it that much more glorious.
Well, and it doesn't matter what sport it is. That's why
No, not at all.
The pennant starts opening day. The race for the pennant, the race for the Calder Cup starts game 1. And it's that roller coaster ride throughout the season that makes it fun. And the highs wouldn't feel so high unless you go through the lows that seem so damn low. It just makes it so much sweeter.
Yep, right on. Right
And
on.
that's
No
why
doubt.
that's why the bandwagon fans kind of always get side-eyed from franchises and stuff like that, because it's easy to jump from winning team to winning team. But when you truthfully get it out of the mud, I mean, there were times where look at the Chicago Blackhawks now. Look at the Carolina Hurricanes 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 10 years ago.
Well, yeah, they went years without making the playoffs, right?
For
In
sure.
Carolina, yeah.
So, Aaron, we got my favorite Kane of all time right now, favorite guy I root for. My guy is Keandre Miller. He's a Minnesota guy like you,
Right on.
but he
Yeah.
skated at University of
The
Wisconsin.
Badgers, yeah.
Probably I have to throw Jankowski in there because he's Polish's cousin. I mean, Polish Pipe Bomb's cousin.
That's
And
right.
then, for me, the normal guys, there's Fetch, Aho. I bought this Bussy jersey when Bussy signed his extension. But my number 3 guy, or top 3 for me in my fandom, has to be Taylor Hall.
Yeah, yeah. Former MVP, former first overall pick, and now he's at this point of his career where he's doing whatever he can to hang on, and he was on the best line of the playoffs with him and Stankoven. Like, they were just unbelievable. And I tell you what, Stankoven was a rookie in Texas a few years ago, and as a second-round pick of the Dallas Stars, and he made, like, he's the smallest guy out there, but he makes the machine go. And he played 40 games his rookie year in our league, and forgive me, I can't remember exactly what season it was, but I voted for him for league MVP. He only played 40 games. Like, to me, he made the whole thing go. I voted for him for rookie of the year. He made the whole thing go. It was his teammate Maverick Bork who ended up getting the awards. And Maverick Bork has been a nice player in Dallas, certainly, and he's due a payday and all of this stuff. But I just thought that guy made it go. And when Eric Tulsky had the guts to trade Mikko Rantanen, I mean, like, he made the biggest trade in hockey in forever when he acquired Mikko Rantanen from the Colorado Avalanche. And then a month later, roughly, he decides, you know what, he doesn't want to be here. Let's move him on and get something. Let's get something of value. And he gets these guys from Dallas, and lo and behold, they're the guys that are like big parts of what they did. Stankoven in particular. But what you said with Taylor Hall, like, former MVP, former first overall pick, guy who's he's a pest. Like, if he's on your team, you love him. Here's a guy who there too. He's been to the top of the mountain. He's been the big time goal scorer. He's been the MVP. Now he's trying to find his niche and do what he can to be a part of a winning team. Veterans often have to do that, and they found a spot in Carolina playing for a coach that respects him, and he made himself a different player than what he was. And look at now, he's a champion, and nobody can take that away because he put in the work. He and his team put in the work, and his coaching staff and people around him. It's a selfish game. You have to figure out how you're going to stay. You have to skip your kid's recital to lift weights. You have to skip the family outing because you have to get on a bus or whatever it is. But Taylor Hall's been able to do that, and now like he's at like you can have the first overall pick. You can have all of the accolades he had. I guarantee he'll say this is the best thing that ever happened to him, at least as a hockey player.
And
How many years have you been the voice of the Admirals?
I'm going into 22.
So if you had to guess on how many total players you have called wearing an Admirals sweater, what do you think that number would be?
Oh, roughly, and obviously it carries over from year to year with some guys, but let's say roughly 40 a year. So in the 800 range, approximately, with guys that come in for just a game or two. Yeah, probably about 800, I would suppose.
Whew.
Yeah, I
That's
hadn't
a
thought of
number.
that. No, I hadn't thought of that. That's an interesting question. Now I know what I'm gonna do. This is the first time I've dusted off the computer in months, so yeah, maybe I'm gonna have to sit on it a little bit longer and count.
That's a big number.
You don't do that. That's that's a big number. Yeah.
No, but you know what? Like, we've had a lot of guys go to the NHL. We've had a lot of guys. Obviously, we've played. Like I've been fortunate. Like I got to call a minor league hockey game with Chris Chelios playing for the Chicago Wolves when he was a member of the Atlanta Thrashers at the end of his career. Right? Like, I was there when Oklahoma City started the year with Taylor Hall and Jordan Eberle and Justin Schultz and this group of guys because of the lockout in 14-15 to start the season. I've been really lucky to see a lot of great, like just phenomenal players at this level. Obviously the ones who came through Milwaukee, but even to play against, there have been some crazy talented players that have gone on to unbelievable careers that we got to see in this league. It's you're seeing some great hockey, and you're seeing the future the future stars today, right? And it's pretty awesome. Tomorrow stars today. It's an awesome hockey league.
Justin, let me steal one more real quick.
Gotcha.
So you said you're very lucky to cover all those guys. Let's talk about the times you've been unlucky. How cold was it at that outdoors game this past season?
Oh, what did they say? Eight below at face-off? Was it something like that? 8 below, I think, Fahrenheit at face-off. Coldest game in the history of North American professional hockey.
Yeah,
So,
and
it was
you
chilly.
stood out there the whole time.
Wind chill was 29-30 below. It was we stood outside because the booth that they had just didn't have the space, and they set up these tents, like plastic, like greenhouse tents almost, these clear plastic, but they were just crinkly and you couldn't see out of them. So and then it was so cold, like the propane heaters never worked, like they just fizzle out right away. It's like, okay, if we're going to do this and I can see the game, I have to be outside. And that's just, it went fine. This computer I'm on right now, I thought it was done for being out in that cold. Like I hit a button and it just kind of went, to heck with you. It almost literally said to heck with you, and it just shut down. But I put it, I put it in my backpack with those hand warmers, and when I got home, it turned on right back on, so everything was cool.
Wow.
But yeah, it was a chilly night. Yeah, there's no doubt. I would love to do it again, but it could be 30 degrees warmer. I'd enjoy it. I'd enjoy it if it was 20 and it was some light dusting of snow. Would have been really pretty. But that was special for me because that happened 15 minutes from where I grew up, and it was like I scored like 7 goals in my life as a hockey player, and like 2 of them were in that city. I know that city pretty well. So it was a lot. It was for a lot of reasons. It was really special for me. Mostly it was great to win in overtime and all of that, and people were awfully nice about But it was just doing the job. But the things that happened away from it. Away from the game that I haven't really shared, but those were the special things for me.
No, that's awesome. And let's keep it right here for hockey for a second, Pipe. I know, and for all of you Cream City Curveball people that are dying and chewing at the butt, chomping at the bit for Brewers. We're gonna get there. Trust me, we are. But when you have a legend like Aaron Sims here, we got to spend a little bit of time on this hockey. So let's go to this AHL final we have, Aaron. What is it? Is it the Chicago Wolves and Toronto?
Carolina's
correct?
team, by the way. Carolina's farm
Carolina's
team. The Chicago
team.
Wolves. Yeah, and the Toronto Marlies, the farm team of the Maple Leafs. Toronto took the first 3 games. Chicago took game 4 in overtime, so they're playing game 5. If Chicago wins, they'll come back to Allstate Arena in Rosemont, Illinois for game 6 and potentially game 7. So, the Admirals last couple of years were the givers of the reverse sweep, I guess, on the right side of a reverse sweep. Those were 5-game series. But Chicago could do it. And they play the same way Rod Brindamore in Carolina plays. They are hard to play against. They buzz. And they've got some high-end young players down there. And, it's going to be interesting. I thought it was over. I thought there's no way. But, I mean, that fourth one, and the cliche, it's always hardest to win the last, all of this stuff, right? And Chicago's not out yet. So I don't put anything past them. When the playoffs started, the Admirals, I honestly was hoping that the first round matchup was not Chicago. Even though Grand Rapids at one time was 30-1 this year, I thought the Admirals would have had an easier time with Grand Rapids than I did with Chicago. Just Chicago was a buzz saw that the Admirals were playing 12 rookies roughly a night, 10 up to 12, 13. It was a lot to handle. And they just had a better season against. They were 5-7 against Grand Rapids. I think they finished 4-8 against Chicago, but I think all 4 wins were in overtime. So Chicago was a tough matchup this year, and I'm not too surprised that they made it to the championship, even though they took second place in the division. So it's going to be interesting to see if Toronto can seal the deal. They've got a great coach. They're a veteran team. They always have 3-4 guys that have played some games and are good veteran type players. It's going to be an interesting one when they play for game 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's weird because usually I never root for Canada over the U.S. ever. But we're talking about the Chicago Wolves here, so let's go Toronto.
The arch rivals. I get it.
Let's go Toronto.
I'm so torn because it's I'm supposed to hate the Wolves growing up in Milwaukee, but then it's I have this affinity for the Hurricanes now. And what did you say? Tomorrow Stars? So those guys will be tomorrow Hurricanes. Yeah. I don't know, Pipe. I got to go Wolves, brother.
You mentioned Keandre Miller. One of the Wolves' best players last year was a young defenseman named Scott Morrow, who was the key piece in that trade to bring him to Carolina. And there will be others, right? There's Bradley Nadeau. They had Jack Drury, who was a part of the Rantanen trade last year. So, I mean, there's a lot of guys, and he's with Colorado now, Jack Drury. So, I mean, there's guys there that you're going to know in the not too distant future, whether they're with Carolina or whether they bring a piece back to Carolina in some type of deal.
Can I ask one more hockey question, Pipe? And then
go ahead.
I'll be done. So just last hockey question for me, Aaron, before I keep waving my banner and looking like the clown that I am tonight. But it is what it is. Eric Stahl is this it for him? Does he have anything left to prove?
No,
I mean, how can you go out any higher than that?
No, you're right, but I can't see why he would quit, right? Eric had to be walked away. I don't see why Jordan wouldn't keep going, right? You win one, you want to win again. He was the MVP of the playoffs. Had goals in each of the first 5 games out of the 6. He was fantastic. He's the leader you want. There's a lot. Hockey teams put a lot of equity in the right veterans, and he clearly, since he was acquired from Pittsburgh, he has been a guy that they've counted on and relied upon, and it's a hard thing to walk away. We've had guys. Cal O'Reilly is the one that comes to mind. Played over 1,000 games in the American League, right? And a lot of people are like, well, being the home run leader in minor league baseball, what's the big deal? That's like, well, he's the home run leader. Yeah, but it's in the minor leagues. Well, you know what? It's still pro baseball. Playing 1,000 games, professional hockey, and he got paid. Like, play until somebody tells you they don't want you anymore, and then if they don't want you, make sure everybody doesn't want you. Somebody, because it ain't coming back. Once you're gone, it ain't happening again. So if Jordan Staal and his family think that he should continue to play, and I can't imagine Carolina would not want to keep him around, then yeah, by all means, keep going until you can't go anymore. And he'll know when, and he has his peers, and his peers happen to be his brothers, who were great hockey players. So like he'll know when it's time. But when you finish up with 5 goals in 6 games in the Stanley Cup final and you win and you're the first one to lift the trophy, yeah, it'd be great to be John Elway and to walk out on that, but it'd also be great to try to do it again.
And my apologies, I called him. Sorry, Pipe. I called him Jordan. I called Jordan Eric. We've had every
but
stall.
Eric was
Pipe.
there, right? Like
every
Eric
stall.
was there, cranking the siren and all of that stuff, right? So yeah. Yeah.
We had all the stalls in Carolina.
And there was even Jared. And
yes.
Did Jared get a game? Did he get a game in Carolina? He played for the Charlotte team for a long time, but I don't remember. I think he got a game.
He was a checker. I think he did.
But I'm trying to think if he got a game in the NHL or not. I don't remember. He may have. But anyway, they had them all. They had them all there. Yeah. Thunder Bay, Ontario.
Yeah, you'd think that he would get one just because of the last name. So
Exactly
we talked
right.
about some of those awesome games that you saw at County Stadium, the last game there and everything like that. So obviously you have good luck of picking baseball games to go to. Have you been to any cool games this year of the Milwaukee Brewers?
I'm gonna start off with saying this, that in 04 I just happened to buy a seat coming over from Madison on the afternoon that Ben Sheets struck out 18 Atlanta Braves. I happened to be in the crowd that day on the third base side and the club. I was making that kind of money at the time. I bought club level tickets.
There you go.
Yeah.
Unemployed. And then with the Admirals, we bring our season ticket holders out to one game, kind of celebrate. You bought a ticket package. We worked something out with the Brewers, and the one game we had the one year was CC Sabathia's first game as a Brewer, which was like a stroke of luck, right? And then
that's awesome.
A couple of Fridays ago, I guess it was last Friday, we happened to be in the stands for Jacob Mizorowski to throw 90 pitches, 9 innings, 2 hours and 4 minutes, 15 Ks, no walks, 1 hit, 27 batters faced. And I'm sitting there debating, like, what was better? Was it the Sheets game? Because I didn't see Juan Nieves. I didn't see Juan Nieves no-hitter, and I didn't see Burns and whatever they did.
That one doesn't count. Right? Nieves is the only real one.
Shared, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in total agreement with you on that. But that Mizorowski, like, that might be the best pitching performance I have ever seen in my life. Like, it just at no time. Schwarber, was it the first batter was Schwarber? He argued something balls and strikes, but it's like, dude, there's ABS. Like, I don't know what you're arguing. You're done. So I don't know if it's a hockey fight. Like, he's trying to fire up his team. Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, like, and he throws 104.5 or something. Like, that's not a speed that a baseball should go. That's a FM frequency. Like, that's what that is. But he, like, it was crazy. And I'm sitting there with Matt Menzel, who does radio games when I'm doing TV for the Admirals, and people who know the area of sportscasting and stuff. They know Matt. Matt's been around for a long time. He's tremendous, and he's a wonderful person. And Matt and I were in the stands, and we're like, oh, we're done already? Like, we were just totally shocked, because it's a baseball game, right? It's this great, you visit with the people next to you, and I was out there with the Alzheimer's Association, who I just adore these people, and I've worked with for 15 years, and like 2 hours and 4 minutes. Like, this is shorter than a hockey game now. Like, baseball used to be 2 hours and 4 minutes. That's usually when I used to get on the shuttle to go back to Saz's, because it was the 7th inning stretch, and there's still an hour and a half to play. But I've had my fill. 2 hours and 4 minutes. Like that was the first baseball game in years, regular season, that I was left wanting more. Like I'm willing to be here for long. This was phenomenal. Like it was sick, and for the Brewers, and it doesn't seem to matter what pitching coach they've had the last decade. It doesn't seem to matter who the manager has been the last decade. Doesn't they've got it figured out. They've got it figured out. Kyle Harrison coming over, like, kind of a throw-in, sort of. They made it seem like he was a throw-in. Well, you know what? He had a pretty decent resume before some things went awry. And this is such a fickle game. Like, it's almost like when you're 18, like you still have to sign up for civil service or whatever. It's almost like if you're a pitcher at 18, you should just have Tommy John surgery, get it over with,
That's right.
and let's move on. And because everybody's going to get it. And with these idiots in baseball talking about how they're not going to draft high school kids anymore and all of this stuff, which I can't believe is going to go through. But just get it done. Take a redshirt year, take your medical redshirt, go to community college or LSU or wherever you're going to go, and come back and throw. As reading Miz, right? Like Miz was throwing, he came back, he's throwing 95, 96, 97, got up to 99 in college. The Brewers take him, and now he's throwing on the reg. He's throwing 105 miles an hour. Like, it's obscene. Like, we used to lose our minds about Nolan Ryan. Like, now, and Miz is the hardest of a group of guys that they all throw this much. But to throw 105 for 9 innings, it's one thing to throw 105 for a max of 4, right? To be an opener or to be a closer. To throw 105 and still hit 102, 101 in the 9th inning of a 90-pitch game, that's mechanics, that's coaching, that's God-given ability, like all of these things. Like I was just reading something. You tell me, is he the best pitcher in baseball? Like he may have the most potential and he may have the most flash because of the numbers, that speedometer, but like it's hard not to say that he's the best pitcher in baseball right now. Pretty crazy.
I 100% agree.
Yeah?
100%.
Yeah, I would say he is. And, I know it was close with Sanchez, and then the Brewers lit up Sanchez when they were facing the Phillies. And the disqualifier for Sanchez and the reason why he is no longer in the Cy Young at all conversation is because he allowed a homer to Blake Perkins, which, is a complete disqualifier. You do that, you should be sent down to rookie ball.
I tell you what, like I like his numbers aren't where they're supposed to be. But I remember when I was a kid, we're going through baseball cards, and my buddies and I think we're like 8, 9 years old. This is early 80s, and this guy stinks. This guy's no good. All of this stuff, and my dad, and I'll never forget this, and it's stuck with me for 40-some years. My dad's saying, you know what? He's in the big leagues, and he's got a baseball card. He's probably pretty good. And I thought, well, yeah, like that has always stuck with me. Now, there are grades of good. There are grades of, but like certainly, yeah. No, it'd be great if that OPS could be 650, 700 for him. That'd be incredible. But
well yeah, maybe he should try to hit triple digits first. What'd you say? What'd you say, Justin?
You got to put a little bit more respect on. But I told you the last show, man. You got to call him Drake Perkins now because he's back to being Drake. A home run. He scored our run tonight.
Right on.
He scored our run tonight too. So, and then we got the Miz on the mound tonight too, Aaron. So that should be exciting baseball. Yeah. I would agree with Aaron as well. Here's why I say the Miz is the best pitcher in baseball. Because he went into that Philadelphia Phillies series, and if you look at how the Phillies look after they left Milwaukee and before they came, they're beating the brakes off of everybody and hitting the ball left and right, and they come to the Miz, and it stops.
When, like with Rob Thompson, right? And I think Rob Thompson's a real good man. Like, his record speaks for itself, right? Like, they did a really good job, but for whatever reason, it wasn't working at the beginning of the season. When I was a kid, I was a big Don Mattingly guy. Like, had to collect his cards. His cards, swept the 84 Donruss, swept the nation. Everybody had to have that. So I was like Don Mattingly. And as a manager, like, he probably hasn't had the success that he's been a good manager, don't get me wrong, but they've started to turn things around, whether it's because of Mattingly or whether it's just all these guys, this veteran lineup for the Phillies finally started to come around, whatever the case might be. But you're right, like they were pretty hot coming in, Schwarber, Harper, like Brandon Marsh was leading the league in hitting, right? Like they've got a lot of ability out there. Trey Turner is dynamic, although that night that I'm speaking of on the 12th, he should have had 2 errors. They gave him only 1. He should have had 2. He wasn't very smooth, but and nonetheless, fantastic player. So like there's a lot of just phenomenal and real muto, right? Like there's success and there's a resume on pretty much all of these guys that's fantastic. The pitching, that's a good Phillies team, and Miz shut him down that night. And I mean, 27 up and 27, like there was 1 hit, right? But the double play, like nobody faces the minimum. Nobody faces the. That's a perfect game. Yes, there was a hit, right? And yes, it's not a no-hitter and all of that. And I joked to Matt, like top of the 4th, when Schwarber got the hit, I'm like, we can go now. The game, we perfect game's over, no-hitter's over. What's there to root for? Well, there was a lot to root for. he nailed it, man.
You got that right. What are your early thoughts on Cooper Pratt? He's come up, had pretty good impact so far. But when you're replacing Luis Rengifo, the bar ain't that high.
Yeah. No, I like the kid, right? And it's going to be real interesting. But the Brewers, I don't know anything about their scouting, right? I don't know who their head scout is, their amateur scouts, where they are, right? I used to know Harvey Keene Jr. Would show up in Madison for these Northwoods League games 20 years ago when I was working there and stuff. But I don't know any of these people. But and the people in Latin America and all of this stuff, like they have an embarrassment of riches in the infield right now. And with Pratt coming up, and with Jet Williams doing what he's doing in Nashville, and obviously Terang, and finding Andrew Vaughn and making him what he was supposed to be 5-6 seasons ago, like the people they've got there, it's amazing. And again, the names have changed, at least with the on-field staff, a little bit over the years. So it really is remarkable. Churio. So when Pratt comes up, and like you wonder, okay, I'm not one who believes that you get worse staying at AAA, right? Like, but if you're dominating AAA or AA for that matter, because a lot of guys do the AA jump, right? Although it seems like it's more AAA now. It seems like guys like AAA used to be like the old guy league, the 30-year-old guys that were there to fill in for a short time, and the real prospects came from AA right to the majors and stayed. Now it seems like it's going back to how it used to be when I was young. But like I'm all for that guy dominating at that level before he comes up, and it like obviously they like what they see, and it's he plays a position that you got to catch the ball too, and so that's like a big thing. So yeah, it's great to get a hit and a run and all of the stolen base and all of this stuff, but you got to catch the ball. And now that we can't shift 4 guys onto one side of the infield and things like that, like Mike Moustakas playing second base, that kind of stuff. That's you got to have a guy that can make the plays. Ortiz could make the plays, but he's going to hit 180 or whatever, right? And strike out with the guys on base and all of this stuff. So Pratt has it's certainly in a honeymoon phase, right? So let's see where he is at the end of this season. Let's see where he is at the beginning of next season. It's not uncommon for a guy to have a hiccup somewhere, and maybe he needs to go and get some confidence back in Nashville or whatever the case might be. But the Brewers are fortunate that they're playing as a team, a great brand of baseball, an exciting brand of baseball, a brand of baseball that puts pressure on you, doesn't just rely on a 3-run homer. So those guys have a role, and those guys, like you can use your legs to get out of a slump. You can, Pat Murphy seems to like it, the old days, like if a guy went 0 for 10, lay down a bunt just to get on base again, right? Like that's taboo over the last 20 years in Major League Baseball, but Pat Murphy's brought it back. So if you got a guy that can do it, if Turan can do it, if Sal Frelick can do it, if Churi, like there's a lot of guys on that team that can do it. My assumption is Pratt will as well. You can kind of work your way through that stuff. So I'm excited for him, but again, I'm not leery, but you just anticipate there's going to be a lull. There's going to be that adrenaline shot for everybody that you're excited to see the young guy. This is just my opinion, but I think it holds true with a lot of things and has over the years. There's that adrenaline push that you're seeing a top prospect, but eventually, like guys are going to figure him out, or he's going to get tired, whatever it is, right? The mental strain, the being away from home, whatever it is, living in a hotel. There's a variety of reasons. And the fact of the matter is, everybody has a slump, so there's going to be that. How does he deal with that? How do the people around him deal with that? Fair.
What you got, Justin?
No, absolutely. I just got one more for you, man. I was going to ask you about what would make this season successful and all that, but that's real cheesy, man. You clearly know your baseball, and you're through and through to your baseball since the Brewers came to existence here in Milwaukee. So I think, who are your top 4 Brewers of all time?
Top 4 Brewers. I had the great pleasure to hear a phenomenal story from Gorman Thomas one time in Madison. He was at the county fair. I'm going to share it with you real quick. 82, the Twins lost 100 games. That, of course, was the year the Brewers made the World Series. And I'm watching this game in Minnesota. It was an afternoon game. Cecil Cooper's at the plate. And they're playing on the turf. This is the first year of the Metrodome. Turf is just like it's playing on a runway. Like it's just, there's, if you hit the ball 100 miles off the bat, 100 miles an hour off the bat, it's going to go 120 after it hits that turf. Like it's just going to pick it up, right? So Robin Yount's on first base. Because, you had Molitor bat first, Yount bat second, Cooper third, Ted Simmons fourth, so on, right? So Cooper hits, just drills one at Kent Herbeck. Kent Herbeck, for people who don't know, is one of the great, he never won a Gold Glove, which is one of the biggest crimes in baseball history. Like he was phenomenal. People in the 91 World Series will remember that it depending on what side you're on, they'll say he lifted Ron Gant's leg off the bag, or he made the smart play and kept the tag on while Ron Gant's momentum, and I happen to fall into the latter category. Nonetheless, Cecil Cooper just smokes this ball to Herbeck. He throws to short, or throws to second. The shortstop was a guy named Lenny Faedo. He was a former first-round pick and never really made it, but he played a couple 100 games, and he gets the ball. Robin's out by 40 feet. And so Faedo has all the time in the world because Cecil Cooper's coming out of the batter's box, and like the ball came to Herbeck at 120 miles an hour. Lenny Faedo has a day and a half to turn this double play. So Faedo takes like 8 steps toward the outfield to clear Robin so he doesn't drill him in the forehead with this toss to first, right? So Faedo goes way out. Robin veers, and Robin blows him up. Just like he's out by, seriously, he's out 40 feet, and Yount blows him up. And then, they call Cooper out, the bench is clear, all of this stuff, right? So I say Gorman Thomas because I happened to be doing this radio remote with Gorman, and I asked him about that play in 82, and he remembered it, and he told me why, and I was so stoked. And he said that, and he called Lenny Faedo a name I shouldn't say. Lenny Faedo was apparently making fun of Harvey Keene's wooden leg, and the Brewers were having none of it. So you have all these 21-year-old kids, 22-year-old kids playing for, at the time, the Minnesota Twins that just got throttled by all these roughly 30-year-old, like Harvey's wall bangers. You had Pete Vukovich, and the facial hair was unkempt, and all. Like it was just jocks and nerds, man. And these guys are bikers and preppies, and the bikers beat the snot out of them. But Gorman told me the reason they blew him up was because Lenny Faedo was making fun of Harvey Keene's leg. And I thought,
awesome.
That was some inside baseball there that I was thrilled. So Gorman is one. Larry Heisel is one. Now, Larry started late '70s with the Brewers and had a phenomenal year, and then injuries took their toll. But I think he's still with the team in a community relations role. Larry Heisel is the definition of a gentleman. Larry Heisel is the most caring, and I've only been around him on 2 occasions, but I loved him as a player. Thinking back on him as a player and looking at his stats, and people who don't know Larry Heisel as a player, like, he could do it all. Led the league in RBI, all of this stuff. And it's to me, and I told him this to his face, and it was on the radio, and it could have, sort of been this fake radio thing, but and I apologize, I'm taking so much time here, guys. So if you need me to stop, tell me.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
But so I said, I told him, like, it's no coincidence that the Brewers started to get really good when you got to town. Like, he had a great first season in Milwaukee, and then the injuries caught up. But when I met him the first time, it was at an autograph signing, and we were doing our radio show, and he came on, and he had been counseling a young man who was having a tough time in life, and that very day, and he'd been doing it for some time, and that very day the man lost his battle, and the young man lost his battle, and Larry Heisel to me is the one of the sweetest, just based off of that story, and then knowing what I know from people who have been around him. Like, he's just the sweetest guy. So not only was he a phenomenal baseball player, but he's 20 times the human being. So Larry Heisel would be there. Oh boy, Molitor has to be one. Just the igniter, right? He could play every position. He stole bases. He had the hit streak in '87. I remember watching the news when I was 14 years old, and they were counting the hit streak on the national news at night with Peter Jennings on ABC. Molitor has to be one. And I'm going to go new because he's a big hockey guy and he's been out to Admirals games. Sal Frelick.
Nice.
I think Sal's cool. Great football player in high school, right? And then he was a hockey player. He's a big hockey guy. He's been out to our games. He's done some promotional stuff with us. I dig Sal. I think he's fantastic. So I mean, there's a long list. Like, you could go, Surhoff and Jaha and like Jeff Jenkins, Richie Sexton. I thought was a cool guy when I got to meet him a couple of times. There's a lot. There's a lot. Don August is a guy. Don August, '84 Olympian, but he was still pitching. I don't know if he still is, but he was pitching town ball in like Waukesha. This a while ago, but it was pretty crazy to think. So, Paul Wagner is a heck of a nice guy. Like, there's a lot of good. They brought in a lot of good human beings in this organization that I've been that I've enjoyed watch play, but also in a couple of occasions I've been fortunate. Ted Simmons would have to be there too. So I just think he's a cool dude. So there's a bunch.
Well, the last question I got for you, I would be remiss, and all the people who follow the Admiral games on Flow Hockey, on AHL TV and all that. They're used to hearing you sing in commercial breaks and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
What you been listening to lately?
It's a lot of it's Dwight Yoakam, it's John Prine, it's David Lee Roth is coming to Summerfest, so as always Van Halen. I think Panama is the greatest song that they could ever play at an arena or a stadium. I think Panama is just, it has everything you want in a song to get people fired up. So yeah, those, when you get older, like my sense of new, like it's a joke, but it's partly true. Like, the newest hit song I know is Hey Ya by Outkast. And that's like, what, 25 years old, right? So like, it's been a while since I've been concerned about new music. Sturgill Simpson. It's been a while since I've been real concerned about the new record or from somebody. Although it is nice to say new record. It is nice to say that kind of thing.
Well, that was when music was music, when they were putting out full albums, and it's not just one hit.
They're making us rent the music. They're not letting us buy it anymore. I like to buy the music.
Amen. Me
You know?
too. Me
Yeah.
too. Well, I want to thank you, Aaron. This was awesome,
Well, I
and
appreciate it.
you know, it's been a pleasure working with you. The amount of years that I was able to work with you. Hopefully, down the line there'll be more coming. But just what you and the Admirals mean to the community. You guys are awesome. You guys do so much for the people, for charities, and all that, and you're not calling the media to come and cover it. You just do it because that's who you guys are. That's you. That's Greenberg. I've never met Harris Turr, but by
Yeah.
reputation, that's him as well. All the people, you guys are just an absolute wonderful organization, and I just been very lucky to, know you, know Greenie, and all that, and work side by side with you, and I've loved every second of it. And I just want to say thank you. You're an amazing person, amazing man, and I'm glad you're my friend.
Well, Pipe, there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. And Justin, you're falling into that category too. I appreciate it. It's been a thrill to meet you and talk with you. And if you guys have to do a lot of editing on this to cut out my babbling, I apologize. I'm sorry, and I'll
Editing?
pay you for your time.
We don't edit. No,
Good for you.
Come as you are.
Good for you. I appreciate that. That's how I am too. One take. There was a Simpsons episode, right, where Lisa was doing the Barbie doll, and Krusty the Clown came in and he did 6 lines and he was gone. One take. That's it. They weren't even ready for him. That's how I like to roll too. That's how it goes.
Amen. I
appreciate
love it. I love it. But yeah, thank you, and everybody check out all the Admiral games on Fox Sports 920. Get back underway in October, and can't wait.
Home opener is October the 10th, and the full schedule we're hoping will be out 3-4 weeks or so. So yeah, but before it's been coming out before State Fair in Wisconsin, which is pretty crazy. So it's earlier and earlier, and it's an exciting time. New GM in Nashville. So how does that affect us in Milwaukee? Because that's our parent club. So, will we get more veterans? Will there be trades? What are they going to do in free agency? Free agency starts July 1st. So, it's an exciting time. It's kind of really the first time we've had a different person in charge in our entire relationship with Nashville. So it's an exciting time, and a time where we're all kind of waiting to see what happens, how this guy operates. So it's pretty cool. It hasn't felt like this in a long time, and it's pretty neat.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on today too, Aaron. And I only have one other promise you have to make for me. When the Admirals go to the AHL finals, which they will next year, I need you to go into PK Subban's closet, and I need you to dress the way he dresses for the entire finals.
I'll tell you what, comparatively, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but compared to the other broadcasters in this league, I'm up there, my man.
I know you are.
A suit every game.
Well, and I tell you what, and it's not just a dark suit or a blue suit or whatever. Like I got a rust colored one. I got a plum one. I got I'm trying to. I don't want a full on look like Prince, but it'd be awesome if I did. It'd be awesome if I did.
I know if my son and my daughters heard me say that we see your drip when you're on air, Aaron, they tell me you're outdated. But I think the new terminology is you have great aura with your dressing, Aaron. So
there you go.
Kudos to you, my friend.
Somebody said, aura farming, is that a term?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I heard somebody say that the other day, and I was like, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Or I have no idea what that means. I'm 53 years old. I'm still cool and whatever, right? But yeah.
I have no idea what it means either, but when your kids get a couple years older, do what I do. I just Google slang words for teens now, then I just start rattling these things off.
And then you don't have to worry about it again, because they won't use them. Yeah, they won't use them ever again. I hear you.
That's right.
That is awesome. No, man. This has been absolutely epic, man. The only thing I would say is I would love to be a fly on the wall pipe with put Aaron and Tim Allen in a room and let them talk 70s and 80s Brewers baseball, and I think that'd be an epic. I mean, you need 3 hours to do it at least.
I think the world of Tim. That's one thing I wish I would have been able to do over the years is to be like you, Pipe, sit in with Tim on a couple of nights, and maybe in like January or February when he does the spring training shows, just to kind of expand a little bit and to do that stuff. Because yeah, it would be cool to remember Billy Travers and Bob Coluccio and guys like that, like guys who I had cards of but didn't necessarily see, but got to learn and know because of what the Topps Chewing Gum Company was putting out for the last 75 years. So yeah, it would be. I think the world of Tim. I think Tim is Tim is kind of a hero, actually, of mine. Like, he is so knowledgeable and so good and so entertaining when he does. Like, years ago, I was Matt LePay, the phenomenal voice of the Badgers, right? And did the Brewers for a while. And Matt, I remember Matt saying, if you're doing a show, you better be either really entertaining or really smart. And Tim is one of those guys that's both. And not everybody is that way. And Tim is both. And I think the world of Tim. Man, he's great.
Well,
you
the amazing thing,
you guys too.
The amazing thing is that working behind the scenes for a lot of it at different radio stations. I've heard Wayne Larrivee just gush all over you and how impressed he is, and what everybody says that hockey would be the hardest sport because of the substitutions on the fly. You got to know who's on the ice, who's coming and going, all that kind of stuff, nonstop action. Everybody gushes over you, Aaron. We all know that there's no way in hell there's 30 better people than you in the NHL. You definitely deserve it. And like Justin said, we're glad you're not there for selfish reasons, but you belong there for sure. And LePay is gushed, all of them. So you are creme de la creme, my friend.
That's nice to hear. But yeah, I'm really lucky. I'm really lucky to work with a group of people that I respect, and I feel respect me. And and this, like you guys in media, right? Like, you never think if you're working somewhere that's going to be home necessarily. Well, this. I do, and I have for a while. This is home, right? Like, I've lived here longer than I lived in Minnesota, which is crazy to think, but this is home. This is now my home, and it will always be my home. My kids are here, my wife is here, my stuff is here. Moving your stuff sucks. I ain't
yes,
moving.
It does.
Like, hey, look, you should see the trash around me right now, man. I ain't picking all this up.
Well, we're better off for having you, man. We're lucky.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. This was so much fun.
Hey, it is a bucket list dream type thing for me, man, and we really appreciate your time. We always close it though, Aaron. It's gonna be a little bit weird, but we appreciate it. If you're listening live, or if you're gonna listen in the afternoon, or you're listening at night, or even back like when Pipe Bomb was on the show, you listen in the shower with Pipe Bomb, or you go to bed with Pipe Bomb and listen. We appreciate you all listening. I'm your man Justin from North Carolina.
And Pipe Bomb in the good land. And Aaron SIMS from Parts Unknown.
Sims, yeah, from my basement.
This has been another episode of Cream City Curveball with a little bit of twist of that NHL, AHL vibes. It's a Cream City Media Group production. Go Brewers.